Now, I also know that you guys are really close, and I'm wondering, Sarah, how did it work when did you come out to Sarah first, or Sarah, did you have any clue besides Stash L-word videos? What was the dynamic between the two of you, and did it change after, get better?
Yeah. Well, you want to tell? Can I tell a story?
Go ahead.
Okay, let me tell you my first report. So, it was my 18th birthday, and Sarah had gotten tickets to this like advanced screening or something of the Hairspray movie, right? She lived in New York at the time, and I thought, right, it's prime time, because I'm only going to be there for like 24 hours, I can say it and then bounce. Like, and I don't even have to be in the area. So I take the bus down there, and we're hanging out all day, and every time I think I get the moment to tell her, somebody calls, or this is my time. Or we went to my favorite restaurant, which is Ella's Stardust Diner. Ella's Stardust Diner.
They sing
to you,
like not
which is great.
Setting, hands on tables.
It's awesome. Okay. So, and every time that I say something, someone ends up singing some great ballad, and Sarah has to join in or something. So the whole night, it was just like a series of unfortunate events. Long story short, I didn't end up telling her. I ended up taking the bus back, being like, oh my god, this trip was totally wasted. I was freaking out. After I got off the bus, I drove home, and I thought, well, forget this. I pulled over into a parking lot, called my sister, and I said, hey, I have something to tell you. She was half asleep. She said, what? And I said, I'm a lesbian. She was like, all right. I was like, okay. And I was like, hello, I'm trying to tell you for the past 24 hours. I've been freaking out about this. And she was like, is this it? I want to go back to bed. Like, that was it. And Sarah constantly makes fun of me because she was like, you should have just like gotten off the bus and been like, hey, I'm a lesbian, we're eating. Because it was such an easy conversation. And I'm sure Sarah knew beforehand, but it's still, it's hard. It's hard to say it out loud. Yes, now you can come back.
Exactly. I'd say, I didn't know, but I didn't not know. I think with Katherine, it was never something I was like, this child. But it was never something that when she said it didn't make any sense. And I think for me, if kind of reflecting on it, if there's anything that existed kind of prior to that would have identified her as such, it was more in the way her kind of comfort level with herself in our years growing up, and kind of that there was always a part of Katherine that was a bit guarded and kind of private, that she wasn't willing to share. And I think if I can identify any part of our relationship where I could have said, okay, maybe that's what was going on, then that would have been it. But like Katherine said, it was such at least for me, for me I was asleep, but an easy conversation, because I can't imagine for a second that Katherine would think this would be an issue for me or for her or for our dynamic. And I actually think for a number of circumstances our relationship is better kind of since that moment, not necessarily just because of that moment, but for a number of things, because we're coming into being adults and to understanding each other as adults, as we understand ourselves. But I will also say, like Katherine admitted before, that she is a queen, drama queen, especially when it comes to kind of telling you things, but even the most benign of things. So she, for weeks before she came to New York, would call and say, Sarah, I have something I need to tell you. And it's really important, but I can't tell you now. And I was like, are you serious? And so she said, I have to go, Sarah. And she'd hang up the phone. And I'd call her back, and she'd be like, all right, I'll tell you on Sunday. Do you have time to speak on Sunday? And I'm like, yes, if you need to speak, I have time to speak anytime you want. It's whenever you tell me. Sunday comes, we get on the phone. I can't tell you now. I can't do this. I can't. But the thing is, you start to think with Katherine, because Katherine will do this if she's gotten her hair cut and she doesn't want to, Sarah, I have to tell you something. I got my hair cut. Like, it's for anything. So, I was anticipating something so much more, so much more kind of whatever, than this. And when she kind of came out, I was like, oh, that was it? That's great. I mean, this is great. And I'm so happy that you shared this with me and that you kind of you've been able to come into yourself in a way that you can understand and identify and claim that. But okay, why didn't so? Anyway.